those days I was the mighty Pasha of Sultan. I had a mighty army and a harem of many wives, many servants upon me, for I was born into this, and I was born to rule the world. I brought forth members of my allies' trading partner, and did make great deals with them. I had many agents that I had sent throughout all the lands, and knew all that went on. I stirred up the people of the plains against the occupation. It was I who put the eyes of the Dark Ones upon the plains to begin with, for it was my forges which made the armor for both armies. It was I who manipulated the government, who were greedy and corrupt and easy to bribe. For I worked many years to install those politicians who would do as I tell. Now I send out again the Dark Riders to raid, for it was easy to trick them, for they did not like paying the duties. The people would cry out, "Let us go and destroy these Dark Riders. Let us put an end to them once and for all." And the army went forth, and they made war again, and fell upon the Dark Riders quickly, and destroyed their fortress. Then they set about upon the south of the plains, and destroyed all those villages which served the Dark Riders. They then subjugated all of the plains under their army's rule, and brought all order to the plains. I was behind all of it, for my hand was in all the actions behind the scenes. Now I set out for the final move. I convinced the greedy politicians to convince their people that they needed a strong internal army to defend the government, and the people granted the government more power. I sent men to give information to the enemy's general about their corrupt politicians. I started rumors amongst the soldiers who were about to go home. I knew the general was very patriotic and would serve the Republic. The people grumbled, "Why do we have such an occupation? Bring our people home." So the government began sending some of the occupying soldiers home and putting them back into civilian life. And the people were still upset because of the taxes, for the occupation was very costly. But the Eternal Army and the new powers granted to the politicians kept the people from petitioning the government. Now the general was called forth. Because he was such a patriot, he must be put to the side. So they retired him and gave him great honors and a parade. But I knew he would not rest alone. I knew he would not stay with his wife on his estates for long. For there were many in the Republic who saw what was wrong, and my spy, as a double agent, fed much information to my use to the general. He gathered together men to form a rebellion. The people, they clamored for change, but were always put down by the Army's new tactic of suppressing the people. Now they appointed a new general, a general who would serve the premier. This general set about issuing the orders of the new regime of Kazuya. One thing they did was train the people of the plains so that they might be reserves and guard the frontiers in their own lands. This made the people somewhat happy because the frontiers would now be guarded by the people of the frontier. The people still were overtaxed and suppressed, and their voice was not being heard. Again, the general sent men out and found the camp of the rebels, and they did crush the rebellion and slew the general and his army in a vicious battle. This caused more people to rise up because of the martyrdom of the general and his men, and the more rose up and were slaughtered, the more that would rise up. And I knew this, for I knew it would not be long that the government would call in my army as an ally to help put down the rebellion. And I knew that the rebellion would wear down the people of Kazuya. Fires rose in columns above their capital, for their premier had fled to his village, and the final battle began. The rebellion almost won, and my army arrived, and we crushed the rebellion and took control of the kingdom and the nation of Kazuya. That is how I became emperor of the world in 3 steps.